الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. We're back after a long break, right? Yeah. This is the first time they came back after mid-Ramadan, right, Abdullah? Yeah. This is maybe the second time they came to class, right, Moise? Yeah. After Ramadan, so it's been a very long time. Before we took off, we used to do Islamic studies. We used to focus on a surah, and we were doing tafseer on a surah. Who remembers that surah? Munir?
Fatiha.
Ahsant. Surah what? Fatiha. And what did we cover so far in Surah Fatiha? Samir?
You said that it was like the starting of the Quran.
It is the what?
It was like the starting of the Quran.
Yes. We talked about the different names of the surah, right? One of the names is what? Who can remember some of the names we gave the surah? The opening. And how do you say the opening in Arabic? Sadiq?
Fatiha.
Al-Fatiha. What's another name for the surah that we gave? Munir? The mother of all Quran. What's another name for the surah? Huh?
Summarizer.
The summarizer of the what? Of the whole?
Quran.
Of the whole Quran. Also the 7 most repeated verses, right? And then we also talked about the virtue of the surah, right? And we also talked about the isti'adha. What's isti'adha? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان. Yusuf, what's al-isti'adha? أعوذ بالله. And then we also explained, what does that mean? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Allah, please take me to like a faraway place from evil.
Yes, you are asking Allah to protect you, and you're seeking refuge from who?
Allah.
To get away from shaitan. And then also talked about Bismillahir Rahmanir. And what did we say about this? What does this mean, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim?
In the name of the most merciful and the most forgiving.
Good. So you say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, you're running away from shaitan, and Bismillah, you're going towards who?
Allah.
Allah. And you're saying Bismillah in the name of what?
Allah.
So why are you reading the Quran? Because you're doing it in the name of Allah. And then we talked about some of the grammar rules, and then we also talked about Alhamdu, right? And we talked about praising Allah and how to be thankful to Allah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about how many surahs starts with Alhamdu. Who remembers how many surahs?
7.
7 surahs starts with Alhamdu. Let's name some of the surahs that starts with Alhamdu.
So you got Surah Kahf.
You have Surah Kahf, 1.
Al-Fatiha.
You have Surah Fatiha, 2.
I know another 2. I just can't get the name.
Fatir.
Surah Fatir. Alhamdulillah, Fatir Samawat wal Ard. What else? Surah Saba and Surah An'am. So 5 surahs start with what? Alhamdulillah. Now the next is Alhamdulillahi. What's the next word? Lillahi. All praise belong to who?
Allah.
Allah. This word Allah, we hear it all the time, right? Yusuf, you heard Allah all the time? Allah is one of the names of Allah. And Allah has the most perfect, and He has the most beautiful, and He has the top of the line names. You guys see that? Mm-hmm. Allah has the most what? The most perfect names. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءِ الْحُسْنَى. And to Allah belong the most beautiful and the most complete and the most perfect names. And the name of Allah, it is the first name of Allah found in the Quran. When you open the Quran, what is the first name of Allah you find? You say Alhamdu Lillahi. A'udhu Bismil. Allah is found in the beginning. And Allah is also found at the end of the Quran. It is the last name of Allah mentioned in the what? In the Quran. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس. What did we say? What? Ilahi الناس. This is also Allah. So the name Allah is mentioned in the beginning and it's also mentioned in the what? In the end. This word Allah, Zakaria and Khalid, it is the most repeated verse in the Quran. It is the most repeated word in the Quran. There's no other word in the Quran that is mentioned more than what? Allah. As a matter of fact, and I give this challenge to everybody, you can never open the Quran. Anytime you open the Quran, on every page, you'll find Allah in it. You'll find what? Allah. Or a root word that goes back to Allah. And actually there's a surah. And in this surah, every verse in this surah has Allah. What surah is that? No. There's a surah. No, there's a surah. This surah, it's about 1, 2, 3. It's 3 sides and half long. And every ayah has Allah. It's 3 sides long.
3 sides, not 3 ayahs.
Not 3 ayahs, 3 sides long. So what is it? Huh? This is Surah Mujadala. قَدْ سَمِعَ اللَّهُ. This surah, every verse you find the word what? Allah in it.
Like including the root?
Huh?
Including like a root?
No, has Allah. Has the word Allah in it. Now what does Allah mean?
God.
Huh?
God.
When we define, how do we define something? We try to find the what? If the word has a root word in it, right? The word Allah, the root word of it is aliha ya'lahu, which means ay al-ma'bud. Allah, the root word is, one of the root word of Allah is that which is what? Worshipped. That which is what? And is Allah worshipped?
Yes.
Does He deserve to be worshipped?
Yes.
Yes. Also Allah, look, Allah is worshipped everywhere. وَهُوَ الَّذِي فِي السَّمَاءِ إِلَهٌ. Allah in the heaven, He is worshipped. وَهُوَ الَّذِي فِي السَّمَاءِ إِلَهٌ. In the heavens He is Allah, He is worshipped. وَفِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَهٌ. And on the earth He's also what? Who worships Allah in the heavens? And who worships Allah on earth?
Humans.
Us, right? And the jinns. Also, one of the root word of Allah is that which the heart turns to when it's desperate. You know your heart? When you're so desperate for something and you turn to something, this is one of the root word of Allah. That your heart will turn to Allah when you are in need. Look, when people are stuck and they cannot find anything to do, or they're falling off of a cliff or something, what's the first thing that comes to their mouth? Oh Allah. That even in the Quran, Allah, He tells us what happens when some people, they go on a boat. They go on a what? On a boat, on a ship. And when they are on the ship in the middle of the sea, in the middle where they cannot go back and swim, and they have no help in front of them. فَإِذَا رَكِبُوا فِي الْفُلْكِ دَعَوُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. When they go on the boat, and all of a sudden the boat starts to shake, Munir, left and right, and the wind starts to come, and it seems like a storm, a very bad storm is coming. دَعَوُوا اللَّهَ. They're so desperate, so who do they call to? Allah. But when they're on the land and they're okay, they go back to idols. But they know that when they are in desperate need, who's the only one that can help them? Allah. One of the name of Allah is the thing that the heart turns to when they're desperate. Allah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, there is a name of Allah. This is the great name of Allah. الذي إذا دعي به أجابته. If you make dua using this name, Allah will answer. وإذا سئل به أعطى. And if you ask Allah using this name, He will what? Give you what you're asking for. Listen to this. Allah, the Prophet say, there's a name of Allah. If you ask Allah for something using this name, Allah will give you. What is this name? Some of the scholars, they differ. They say, is it Allah or is it another name? Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum. The scholars that say that is Allah, they mention many proofs. They say first and foremost, the name Allah is mentioned inside this hadith. The Prophet says, Ismullah al-A'zam, the name of Allah the Great. So what name is in this hadith? Allah. Also, like we mentioned, Allah is the most repeated what?
Verse.
Word in the?
Quran.
The most repeated word in the Quran. We also mentioned that, Allah describes all of the other names of Allah to show how great this name is. Like Ar-Rahman, for example, Ayatul Kursi. Somebody read Ayatul Kursi for us. Abdullah. See, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Allah, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul. Allah, no one should be worshipped except He. Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. No sleep or tiredness overtakes Allah. له ما في السماوات. Allah, to Him belongs everything in the heavens and the earth. So the whole Ayatul Kursi describes who? It's a description of Allah. That's why you could take the parts of Ayatul Kursi and put it next to Allah and it will make sense. Like you could say, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Allahu la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Allahu lahu ma fi as-samawati wa ma fi al-ard. Allahu man dhal ladhi yashfa'u 'indahu illa. All of this describes who?
Allah.
Allah. And all of the names of Allah is a description of what? Allah. Like what? Allah is the Ar-Rahman. Allah is the what?
Creator.
Ar-Rahim. Allah is the what? Al-what? Al-Qayyum. Allah is the what? Al-Malik. All of the names of Allah that we know is a description of Allah. Also, from the virtues of this name Allah is that nobody ever called himself Allah. Nobody overtook no one overtook this name what? Allah. There was a man who, one of the names of Allah is Ar-Rahman, right? And he tried to give himself this name. He said, my name is also Ar-Rahman. But the name Allah, nobody has ever what? Has ever taken and named himself. وَهَلْ تَعْلَمْ لَهُ سَمِيًّا.
Like in the Sunnah or like
Ever that we know of in history.
Didn't Pharaoh do that?
No. أَنَا رَبُّكُمْ
He tried to.
الْأَعْلَى. رَبُّكُمْ الْأَعْلَى. He did not say, I am Allah. Also, what is the most important statement? Siddiq, what is the most... say it. La ilaha. What name do you find in there? La ilaha illallah. Also, when we start the prayer, how do we start the prayer? You start with what? The name what? Allah. You say Allahu Akbar. Also, most of the du'as, what? They start with the name what? Like Bismillah, Astaghfir, Subhan, Alhamdu, Jazaka, Baraka, Baraka,
Barakallah.
Barakallah. You find that many of the what? Du'as and dhikr, they have the name what? Allah, Allah in it. So from all of this, we say that the most important and the most powerful name of Allah is what, Siddiq? Allah. And this is the name that if you make dua, Allah will what?
Likely to.
Will most likely what? Accept. And if you ask Allah for something, He will what? He will give. Allah is the one that we worship, and Allah is the one that the heart what? Turns to when we are what? In need. Allah. By the way, you know Arabic language is very beautiful. Some of the Arabic words, you could even if you don't speak Arabic, you could know how powerful it is. For example, Allah, He says, the one who doesn't remember me, he will have a life of difficulty. The one who doesn't what? Remembers Allah and does what Allah wants, he will have a life of difficulty. Look, من أعرض عن ذكري فإن له معيشة ضنكا. Everybody say ضنكا. This ضنكا, doesn't it sound rough? Sadiq, doesn't it sound tough, Moise? Donka, Allah is saying this word means you're going to have a rough time. Donka. Also, another word like this, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says about the word Allah. When you say Allah, where do you feel it comes from?
The heart.
Yeah. Put your hand on your heart and say Allah.
Allah.
You see that? Put your hand on your chest, Siddiq. You, Siddiq, Sheikh, do you feel it? Allah. So some of the beautiful thing of the Arabic language, some of the most beautiful thing of the Arabic language, Siddiq, one of the most beautiful things is that what? Some of the words you can know where what? It's coming from. And Allah is the most powerful name of Allah. And what does it mean? We're going to end here. What does it mean?
Allah means someone who's worshipped.
And someone that the heart what? Turns to. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.